Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube, or outside of my YouTube, you can consider joining the Discord I've created. There is, excuse me, there is a link for that down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. That is a great place for you guys to see the different meals and recipes that I have been enjoying as I've been working towards my weight loss goal. Today is day 984 of my challenge to lose 300 pounds. So far, through a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, I have been able to lose over 260 pounds. I think it's 262 pounds so far. So I'm really happy with how things are going so far, and I'm looking forward to reaching a healthy weight and spending the rest of my life at that healthy weight. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If anybody has any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. Today was weigh-in Wednesday, and I will go over that weigh-in a little bit here. If you are succeeding with your diet, let us know what you're doing to succeed. Share it with everybody else. If you're struggling, let us know what's causing your struggles. Maybe it's something that we've dealt with or that we can help you with. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are doing or that you can do that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Go ahead, switch over to the main screen here. Hello, hello, hello. I hope everybody's doing wonderful today. Carrie's checking in saying hello. Hello, Carrie. Hope everything at home is going well. We will go ahead and go over our food since yesterday. Then we'll talk about the weigh-in, and we'll talk about some other stuff. If there's anything you guys want to talk about, make sure you throw it down in the comments below, and we will try to go over it. Let me see if this is working. Dinner last night is a fan favorite. It's our mega veggie chili. And I absolutely love this meal. Every time I talk about it, I have to bring up the fact that I did not like this meal. There's ingredients in there that I would not have chosen to eat prior to this way of eating. But after eating this way and getting used to the new flavors, it's really something that is become a staple in our diet. And probably one of the only meals that we have eaten consistently since we started. Susan says she can't hear anything. My thing says that it's working. So maybe try restarting. If anybody else is having any issues with hearing me, let me know, because I would have just wasted the last, I don't know, however many minutes rambling about that. There it is, the last 5 minutes talking about that. So Karen says they can't hear either. Carrie, can you hear? Oh, Karen says she can hear. Sorry. And Carrie says she can hear. So maybe just try restarting it. I just misread what Karen had wrote there, but she says she can hear. So, all right. So mega veggie chili was dinner last night. Absolute favorite meal that we have. Logged out and back in and still can't. Maybe check to see if your mute button is clicked on the bottom right hand of the screen. Maybe you have something muted on your player. I'm not sure. Mega Veggie Chili for dinner last night. Then today for breakfast, we had our standard oatmeal. I did not take a picture of the broccoli I ate today, but I did have broccoli today after I had my breakfast. And then that is pretty much all I've eaten today. The only thing left that I haven't shown a video of is the little bit of potato I have right here. I have an Instapot that's got a bunch of potatoes in it, and lunch was cooked and ready to go, but I didn't get a chance to eat it. I didn't get to it today. So right before stream, I was like, I feel a little bit hungry. Maybe I'll go over and grab a potato and eat a potato real quick. So this is my potato. Boom. That is food since yesterday. Not a ton of food, but still enough to get by, I guess. And I will be ready for dinner tonight when I get home. So that was food. The other thing to talk about today is my weigh-in Wednesday weigh-in. I got on the scale today. My weight last week was 260 pounds. Hopped on the scale today and it was 257.8. That is a 2.2 pound weight loss, which is awesome. To see a 2 pound weight loss 980 plus days into my diet is amazing. And I'm so happy to see a 2 pound weight loss on the scale today. The other part of it too is it's not just that I lost 2 pounds, because during a diet that might be possible if maybe you gained 4 pounds or 5 pounds the previous week. But and Carrie's saying it right here, this is my lowest weight so far. So not only did I have a 2.2 pound weight loss, I am like a pound lighter than my lightest weight, or at least a half pound lighter than the lightest weight that I've seen on the scale. So I am extremely happy with the scale result today. It's great to have that positive scale result today, because I'm going to go into the next couple of weeks where I'm not going to be getting on the scale like I regularly get on it. So if I would have had a weight gain today, it kind of would have been like, oh, I gained weight and then I had to go away from my scale. But I lost weight and now I'm thinking, well, I need to hold on to that weight loss while I don't have the scale around me. So yes, it is my lowest weight so far, 257 pounds. This is a weight that I have not seen since I was a sophomore in high school. 15, 16 years old was the last time I weighed this much. So that's 24, 25 years ago. Over half my life was spent heavier than the weight I am right now. And I'm still overweight, which is just crazy. I talked about it a decent bit in the last couple weeks, but I feel amazing. Mentally, I feel amazing. Being able to get around and do things physically, I feel amazing. I'm surprised every single day when I look in the mirror and I see this face versus the face I used to see. And it gets me excited about continuing on and making it the rest of the way and getting to my my weight loss goals. So seeing a 2.2 pound weight loss, awesome. There was a little bit of a surprise. I was hoping to see, a drop down into the 259s, but the drop down into 257.8, that is really awesome. And like I said, it gets me really excited about the next few weeks, the next few months. And it just shows to me how important diet is with this and consistency on your diet. I don't go to the gym. I didn't just, in the last 2 weeks, because my weight stalled, I didn't start walking every morning or doing cardio or going to the gym and lifting weights. I kept things simple and I kept them, sustainable. And that has been extremely important throughout this whole challenge, or throughout the 980 days that I've been doing this, is being consistent and staying on the diet, or getting back on the diet if there's an issue. But yeah, just continuing to see that weight tick down. It isn't exactly a straight line down. There's periods of time where my weight levels off for a couple weeks, but I know that if I continue to eat this way, those plateaus or those stalls, they are just a moment in time, and they go away eventually, as long as you stay consistent with your diet. Finish my potato. So yes, just staying consistent. And this way of eating is so easy to stay consistent on. I know that it might be difficult when you first start, and I talked about that a little bit on my weigh-in video, giving yourself grace or being forgiving of yourself when you mess up, because so on this diet, for me, I would say that for the first 10 months, I was perfect, or I was doing exactly what I needed to do. And then at that 10-month mark, we were put in a position where we felt like eating out was the best solution for us. And by doing that, it definitely kind of stalled my weight loss at that point. And it took me some time to get back on track or figure things out. But that time, 10 months in, was the first time that I ate something off diet. And so if that was a kid who was riding a bike, that means that you put them on the bike for the first time and they rode a quarter mile down the road with no problems, but then they fell at a quarter mile. Just because they were able to ride that quarter mile doesn't mean that they're a good bike rider. It's just they got lucky, or everything worked out perfect for that kid to be able to drive a huge distance. And the quarter miles, let's say 100 yards, and that's the way it was for me. Like 10 months in was the first time I fell off the bike. And it would be really easy to be like, well, you're 10 months in, you should know everything. But if you spend 10 months riding a bike and you never come across a gravel road, the first time you come across that gravel road, you're going to possibly fall. It's different, and you have to learn to get back up and figure it out. But it's so easy for us to get in our heads that we messed up or that we forgot something. Let's see here. Plants Only Muncher says, on Prime days, you bought oat groats and steel cut oats. It's all my fault. You keep talking about your savory morning oats, and you need to try it. I love steel cut oats and oat groats. And whether you put mushrooms, onions, and spinach in it, or you put bananas, apples, and peanut butter in it, I love those oat groats. So I hope you enjoy the savory oats. I really like having it in the morning. Make sure you get the seasoning that you like, or get some seasoning that's good. Just because it adds a lot to as far as flavor. And so that's why we use so much of that Table Tasty, or end up, I guess Table Tasty is what we use a lot. And the oats we have, when the Table Tasty is running low, we do sometimes just put kind of just straight nutritional yeast in there, because that's most of what I think is in the Table Tasty. So I hope you try it, or I hope you enjoy it. I'm thinking you will. It might take some time to figure out how to cook it right or cook it using, steel cut oats and oat groats, but I think you'll like it. So that's awesome to hear that you're trying the steel cut oats and the oat groats. What was I talking about? Being forgiving of yourself and getting back on the bike and understanding that that you're going to come across new things too. Like I just said, like the first time you get on a bike, if you're in a parking lot, you never have to deal with other bikers on a bike path, or, you might have, I guess the point I'm getting at is there are situations that I haven't had to successfully navigate my diet through yet, that I will have to successfully navigate my diet through. And I intend to succeed, but I understand that there's room or there's potential for failure. And that's happened throughout the last 3 years. I had a real hard time with when we would go to movies and not getting a soda and not getting the candy. And a couple times while I was on this diet, I gave in to those temptations at the movie theater. But then eventually I got to a point where, I was in a position where I was like, well, I got to get through this movie theater thing where I don't give in, where I don't buy the candy and buy the soda. And so we started putting things in place, bringing some of our own snacks in or sneaking our own snacks in to the theater, help give me a better chance at succeeding. And so then I did eventually succeed with going to a movie, not buying a soda, not buying the candy. And now I can kind of, have that feather in my cap that I succeeded in that scenario. When you go to family functions, it's extremely difficult sometimes to resist the temptations or the pressures of people put on you to eat the food. And if you can succeed through those family functions, it makes it easier each successive family function that you have, because you got through it one time. You can look back and say, I made it through last time. I'll just do the same thing as I did the previous time, or I'll try to do those same things or use those same excuses for why you're not eating the foods they're wanting you to eat. Whereas if you failed, then you don't have that to stand on. You look back at the last time and you're like, well, I failed last time, and so if that's the case, then you have to think of, well, what can I do to succeed this time? I don't want to fail again. I want to succeed. So what are the things that I can do that will make staying on my diet easier than the alternative? And I guess that kind of gets me into the topic that I was going to talk about today. And that is that life is going to get in the way. That's those scenarios that you don't expect to happen. The biggest reason why it took 10 months for me to get in a situation where I went off plan was because I never put myself in that odd position. It was something where from day one till 10 months in, we never traveled. We never had to worry about being away from our house. And so it was easier to stay compliant. It was that first time that we were off, 3 hours away from home, that I really, one of the first times that I was put in a position where it was important for me to succeed, I kind of failed. But that failure taught me so much. It taught me everything I'm talking about, with the fact that you don't know anything. I was 10 months in. I had lost almost 200 pounds at that point, or had lost 200 pounds at that point, and thought that I was, where, kind of thought I had the diet figured out. And then I got in that position, and it made me learn how to get back on diet. And that's been something that I absolutely love about me challenging myself to do this for 3 years. If I would have just said, I just want to lose weight, and it doesn't matter how long I'm dieting, I just want to lose weight, at that 10-month mark, I might go have that off-plan meal and then have no incentive, or not the same incentives, to get back on diet. I was no longer 520 pounds. I was 320 pounds. 200 pounds off my body was an incredible difference, and it made my life different. And what was I got reading Carrie's comments here, and I got distracted. It was easy when I didn't have life situations coming up. And Laura Stokes just subscribed. Thanks, Laura, for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate it greatly. I hope that you enjoy what we're talking about here. So, and I'm forgetting about what we're talking about. There's that tiredness coming in that I was talking about yesterday. I did get some extra sleep last night, though, or more sleep than I had been getting the last few nights. Anyways, life getting in the way. That second year, right, the fact that I did this for 3 years, I still had an incentive to get back on my diet. I still had that, well, I'm not there yet. I haven't done this for as long as I said I was going to focus on my health and well-being. And so that helped get me back on track. The other part of that experience of my second year that I really feel like I gained so much knowledge, even though I spent the year, kind of once a week or once every 2 weeks, we would go out and get something that was, made by somebody else, or it was processed. And I believe that part of the reason why I was doing that was because I was still under the mindset that the diet that I was eating to lose weight was going to be different than the diet that I eat once I get to my goal weight. That's kind of the mentality I've had with every other diet I've done in the past. And it's really the only way those diets work is they're so low calorie, they're so low volume that they're great for losing weight, but they're not great for maintaining weight loss or for living your daily life. And so that idea that, well, when I get to my goal weight, maybe I'll start eating some of these processed vegan foods. And then I always kind of say it was my subconscious or the back of my head then was thinking, well, I never ate vegan food before, like the vegan processed food, the Impossible Meats, the Beyond Burgers, the cheeses, those things. And I think subconsciously I got worried about that I wasn't going to enjoy those foods when I got to my goal weight. And so I was trying a bunch of different new things. Like that was really, there was a few places where we kind of went back and got, there's a place in town that sells vegan pizza that we had gotten pizza from them a few times. But for the most part, it was me trying new things or things I hadn't had before. I feel like there was that Future food truck had come through the area, and I tried some of their food. Or I can't think of any other, there's a vegan restaurant that I'd done. If you look through some of my old videos, there was a period of time where I did some videos that I called, I think it was Foz Feast, and it was me eating some of these processed foods from these restaurants and trying them out and seeing what they were. And then, and every time I ate that crap food, my weight loss stalled. And I did lose probably 30 pounds or so throughout the second year, but it was, less than I could have. And it's been less than I've lost this, I've already lost probably as much since November of 2022 as I lost all of that November 21 to October 31st, 22. So it definitely slowed down my weight loss. I had to realize that I'm not going to be eating those foods when I get to my goal weight. That's not something that, there's no need to have those foods in my diet going forward. I get plenty of food. I get plenty of variety. I get plenty of enjoyment from the foods that I'm currently eating. And the other thing that I learned, because I did fall off the wagon a lot during the second year, is Jennifer checking in saying hi. Hi, Jennifer. Hope you're doing great. The second year, I would go and we would have this vegan pizza, and then I would get right back on diet. And I think this way of eating does make it easier to get right back on diet, because I didn't give in. That the only time I would say that I gave in because of hunger was kind of that first time we went to a restaurant. It was a vegan restaurant at the town we were visiting. Every other time that I ate something off plan, it was kind of because I chose to, because I wanted to see what that tasted like. It wasn't because I was starving to death. I don't eat, I eat too much food to be starving to death within a 12-hour period. I mean, I fasted for 41 days, so I could not eat food for a few days, but a lot of the times I would just eat these foods to try them, to see what they were like, or to save us time instead of cooking for ourselves. And what I noticed is that 3 to 5 days after I would eat that junk food, I felt better overall. Like there was this weird, like I felt amazing while eating that food, all the salt, oil, sugar, all the dopamine spikes, everything you wanted from the food you got. But then for 2 days afterwards, that salt and oil and sugar would cause inflammation within my body. And I wouldn't really even notice it until it was cleared through my system. And then I would be like, wow, I feel amazing. It's been 3 days since I've been on plan again, and I just feel awesome. And that happened a lot of times throughout the second year. If you go back and check out those videos, I mentioned that a lot, that 3 or 4 days after getting back on plan, that I just felt like I had, the inflammation was gone. My mind was clearer, things like that. Jennifer here says, Carrie say, oh, Carrie's talking about getting the table tasty. Yes, we've been trying to create our own table tasty. We bought all of the different ingredients that they have listed on their package. And so we're kind of trying to see if we can make our own combination of it, save us a little bit of money. But Carrie says she has not nailed the recipe yet. And then Jennifer said, I think you'll get it. And then asked about the Costco. Yeah, we used to use the Kirkland's no salt seasoning from Costco, but I think they discontinued it. And yeah, so that's why yeah, we'll have to see. Harry said her comments were backwards. Oh, she said hi after she said that's great. There was a comment I missed. Jennifer said, Jonathan, I love your food wisdom. Thank you for sharing. Oh, I appreciate that, Jennifer. I hope that it's wisdom. I hope it's not all I don't even know what else it would be. It's got to be wisdom. But it's taken time to figure it out too, like when I was on day one, I didn't know any of this stuff, which is just crazy to think about how much I've learned over the past 980 days. But when it comes to diet and nutrition, I had 20 years of what I thought was reading different books and trying different programs and 20 years of knowledge that I had built up trying to lose weight. And then it all gets flipped on its head when I decided to start eating a whole food plant-based diet. And I've learned so much about this diet, but I've also learned so much about myself. And that's the longevity of it too. That's the 3 years. Like, I believe, that without this channel and this accountability, it would have been difficult for me to continue on, or I would have found excuses not to continue on. But this platform has helped me tremendously to keep me motivated and to complete the 3 years, get to the 1,095 days is what I got to do. So Matthew here says, congrats on the weigh-in. Have a great break. We'll look forward to seeing less of you and all of us. Yes, absolutely, Matt. Thank you very much. Yeah, and that's the other part. That's why I titled the stream Life Gets in the Way, because life is getting in the way of my routine for the next 2 weeks, or 2.5 weeks, really. And when you first start a diet, it's easy to push life out of the way. Like for the first 10 months, I was really able to push life out of the way. We were able to kind of stay at home, get into our routine and stay into that routine. But then, we ended up having to travel, and eventually you'll have to travel. You'll have, maybe something you have to do for work or something you do for family. But you don't get to, you're not going to be able to keep life from knocking at the door, and that's something that many of us try to do. And when we can keep life at bay, we lose weight. But eventually life knocks and knocks and knocks, and you can't ignore it anymore. And it's managing those periods of time that or managing that adjustment that you have to make, because it's almost like throughout the 20 years that I've been trying to lose weight, I had my regular routine that caused me to gain weight, eating 3 meals a day, usually one of them being fast food, highly processed foods, lots of dairy, lots of sugar, just things that I shouldn't be eating. And that's kind of like my normal mode, where it doesn't matter what's happening at life, because, because I don't have any food stress. I just, okay, I can just go to Burger King, go to McDonald's, I can get something quick. And then there's periods of time throughout that regular living that I did where there was like Diet Jonathan. So when I was a sophomore in college, Diet Jonathan showed up, and for 6 months or 8 months, I was taking pills through Advocare was the name of the program that had ephedra in it. And I lost a bunch of weight, but then the ephedra goes away and life knocks, and you can't keep it at bay forever. And so then I would switch back from Diet John to normal John. And then fast forward to 2007, pretty much, I get my CPAP machine and I start losing a little bit of weight. And then I meet my now wife, and that kind of, life got in the way. I started dating somebody, and losing weight became less of a priority. Then in 2009, me and that wonderful woman are trying to have a baby. So we decide that we need to lose weight so that we have a better chance at having a baby. And so Diet John showed up again in 2009, and we lost the, 50, 60 pounds, going to the gym every day, eating just the stupidest diet in the world, looking back at it, super low carb, high fat diet. And then, that lasted for a few months, and Diet John went away and regular John showed up. And then 2013 comes along, and Diet John shows up again and says, hey, I'm going to go see this doctor, start taking phentermine, go to these Thursday night meetings that they have. And when I was on the phentermine, it made it easy to keep life away. And as soon as I quit being able to take the appetite suppressant, I quit having that kind of chemical alteration to my body that kept me from eating. And I went back to the same way I was before. And so it's this period of regular John, Diet John. And what I've done through this channel is that on November 1st, 2020, Diet John showed up. I'm on my diet. I'm going to lose weight. That's what, that's my mentality. The same mentality I had every other one of those times going in. But because I'm forcing myself to do this for 3 years, do this the rest of my life in the end, I've had to morph Diet Jonathan and regular Jonathan together. I had to find a way for them to live in harmony, and eating a whole food plant-based diet allows me to do that because I eat a large volume of food. So I'm not starving or hungry. I've put lots of things into practice to make succeeding easier. I have an Instapot at work. We have an Instapot at home. We have, some staple recipes that we make. So we always have those ingredients on hand. So I am learning, I guess, to make regular Jonathan Diet Jonathan, or be able to be both of them at the same time. I guess that's what I've been able to do through, 980 days of focus and commitment towards this, is to figure out how to merge that, everyday version of myself with the diet version of myself. Matt here says, the big ones are death and hardship within our families and our circle of friends. It's very tough not to be derailed. Yes, absolutely. And those are things that you just cannot control. You can't predict that they're going to happen. For me, a couple things, and another thing that happened at not the same time, but led up to that first time we went off diet, was I tore my distal bicep tendon. I tore my bicep tendon at the elbow here, and that slowed down my weight loss. And so I had already I was on this rocket ship of weight loss, tore my distal bicep tendon, just doing something silly at work. It wasn't even at the gym or doing anything super crazy. it was heavy, I guess, and that's why I tore my bicep tendon. But that happened. I couldn't have predicted that I was going to tear my bicep tendon. And I've torn both of my bicep tendons since I started this challenge, which is just beyond me. But even with having to have surgery twice, I stayed compliant. And I stayed compliant through both of those surgeries. In fact, like the first surgery, Carrie had a surgery a few months before me on her eyes. And when she got done with the surgery, they offered her anything to drink or chips and things like that. And we didn't have anything that was SOS free. So she ended up eating some crackers, I think. So then when I went in to have surgery, we knew that they were going to want me to eat something after surgery, and to stay compliant, we brought our own SOS free chips, and I happened to be, solidly compliant on my diet when I tore my other bicep tendon, and did the same thing, and it was I guess that's a perfect example. We, between the two of us, we went to the doctor 3 times. The first time we were put in a position where we weren't really going to be able to succeed. So the second and third time we made changes so that we did succeed with our diet. But yeah, you don't know when you're gonna, do something stupid like tear your bicep tendon. You could get into a car accident on your way home. You could, anything could happen. An engine can fall off an airplane and land on your car. Who knows? But all of those are scenarios that you have to be ready for. And if an engine fell off an airplane and landed on my car, I would still stay on a plant-based diet. I would still stick to an SOS-free diet. Like, that isn't, the diet isn't a variation anymore. There's no variable in my diet anymore. It's just part of the things that I do. And if I can get through that scenario, if I can say, hey, I had an engine land on my car and I still stayed SOS free, that says something about the diet, And so for me to say that I tore both my bicep tendons and stayed SOS free, you mentioned death. We had our dog pass away a few weeks ago now. That, it makes it easy to use that as an excuse to go. So Gene here says, hello, watching for now. Need to go bike later. Congrats on your weight loss. I think I found it. Awesome. That's great, Gene. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy your bike ride. It was definitely wet today. I have gone from dry to soaking wet to dry to wet again today, dealing with all kinds of stuff. But I did get my new shoes today. I guess I can show you guys my new shoes. So these are kind of similar to a pair of shoes that I used to have, but these are made by Vivo. Let me see if I get back here. These are Vivo something 2. Oh, what are they? Carrie might be in the chat here. She can tell me. Trail Runner or something 2. But I love these shoes. And I'm replacing a pair of shoes that I absolutely hated. And I know there's people out there that like the Zero brand shoes, but I bought a pair of Zero shoes in July or June of 2021. And within a few weeks, the glue started coming off on the sole of the shoe. And so I got annoyed with the shoes, and I actually bought the pair I had before this, after I had those shoes, because I wore them for a few weeks. They started to become unglued, and I was like, well, these are crap quality. So then I switched to these Vivo all-weather shoes, and I loved them. Wore them from probably December of did I lose connection? Let me know if I lost connection, but I probably wore them from December of 2021 up until a couple months ago. And they finally got to the point where they just were wore out. They're not something, I guess, that you wouldn't think of with the shoes. They are not fire retardant at all. These shoes here, I was working with our fire pit, and I got like an ash on the shoe, and it just burnt a hole in the shoe like immediately. So I don't think they have any fire resistance. So don't try running through coals in these. But Gene's got to go. Awesome, Gene. Thanks for being here today. I appreciate it. But I love these Vivos. I'm hoping I love these as much as I loved the other Vivos that I had, because I wore them out completely. But anyways, so my Vivos got to a point where I needed to replace them a couple months ago. So I was like, well, those Zero shoes are at least in better shape than my Vivos are. So I'll start wearing the Zero shoes again. And just slowly the glue has been wearing off. And I would show you the shoes, but as soon as I got these, I pitched the Zeros, because like this whole sole here had peeled, and like every now and then I would walk and this would catch and it would fold under, and like it was unglued probably back to about that point on the front of the shoe. And anyways, I was really annoyed with them. So I got my Vivo shoes. It took some ordering and resizing. These are the Primus Trail is what these are. I think they're Primus Trail 2. And it says for firm ground. But I love these shoes. And if you guys, they're foldable, you know, they're very flexible. If you have feet issues, maybe I should do a video on that. That would be a whole video I could do. So being 520 pounds, I had a lot of problems with my ankles and my feet. I had a ton of swelling in my calves. And after I water fasted, I went through a period of time where I had some really bad pain. Like, I don't know if it was like a gout flare up in my one toe, but then I also had a bunch of pain in my ankle. And I found out that a big issue that I was having was because of the shoes I had. I had these New Balance shoes that were like therapeutic shoes. And so they had like a really hard insole. And that really hard insole works great when the shoes are new. But if you wear the shoes for a year and you end up wearing out the rubber in them, the insoles are plastic, but the rest of it's rubber. So that insole never would give. And so what I found out after going and going to a shoe store and talking to this lady is that because of my shoes and because I was wearing worn out shoes, that my feet weren't hitting the ground flat. They were kind of hitting the ground at an angle. So every time I stepped, it wasn't a straight down thing. It was my ankles were at a slight angle, and that was causing some issues. So that lady recommended I get some Hoka shoes. So I bought these Hoka shoes and I wore them for a couple weeks. And as for the therapeutic benefit, I think the Hokas were great for me at the time. That was like putting a cast on a broken bone. Having the ankle pain and the foot pain I had, wearing the Hokas, they're literally like walking on pillows. And so I bought those for a while, but me and Carrie had gotten into minimalist shoes back in like 2011. We had those Vivo 5-finger shoes, and I really always enjoyed barefoot shoes. And I read some books and was reading some different things. And so I decided to get away from the Hokas and get away from these super supportive shoes, because all of that support is great for like therapy reasons, but when you have all that support, then it means your body doesn't need to keep the strength up in the ligaments and things like that. If the shoe is taking away the impact and it's taking away some of the force that you're feeling, then your body doesn't have to deal with it, so it becomes weaker. And so then when you do go barefoot, it hurts even more. And so anyways, I switched from the Hokas really quickly, the barefoot shoes. It did take a little bit of adjustment, but I don't ever plan on going back to regular shoes. And I really think that if you're having foot issues, try going towards the barefoot side of it. Don't go towards the therapeutic shoes, because one, they probably helped me to stay fat. If I wouldn't have been wearing therapeutic shoes, it would have been harder for me to walk around. I would have had to have lost weight, but because I had these therapeutic shoes, I was able to continue my life at that heavy weight. So anyways, yeah, I really am a big fan of barefoot shoes, minimalist shoes, zero drop shoes is another thing they say. I've had good luck with Vivo. So if you are looking for shoes, between the two companies, that Zero and Vivo, Zero probably has more vegan options. Vivo has a few vegan options. This supposed to be vegan. I think it is. It's mostly rubber and fabric. And I also like having a waterproof shoe. I do a lot of things that cause my feet to get wet. I got a wet sock right here sitting behind me in my office. I got to remember to take that home tonight. I don't know what happened. It says I think I'm still live. I think I'm still live, even though my computer just, what's that? Plants Only Muncher is asking, it did it again. Let me know if it's okay. Chat disconnected. Now I reconnected. Oh, okay. I'm still live, but who knows if that's you responding for the first time I was asking if I was still live, or the second time I was asking I'm still live. Yes, I was gone for a second. I'm here now. So a couple questions. All right, let's see. Plants Only Muncher is asking, what are barefoot shoes? Well, barefoot shoes are the same, or minimalist shoes is a shoe that doesn't have any sole, like any cushioning between the bottom of the shoe and the shoe itself. So the thickness, like the thickness of this rubber is the thickness of the shoe. And so then that way you're feeling more of the ground when you're walking. Another attribute of a lot of minimalist shoes is that the toe box is wider so that your feet and your toes can spread out more. Something that a lot of shoes and shoes I've worn in the past have done is they pinch my pinky toe in. And these shoes generally are designed to be wider, so that your toes can spread more. And it's supposed to be a more natural feel, when you're walking. And so yeah, that's what I guess barefoot shoes is, just as close to barefoot as you can be without being barefoot. They refer to them also as minimalist shoes, just because it uses a minimal amount of materials. And then also, and one of the things that is a benefit, I mentioned the term zero drop. And what zero drop means is that the height that your heel is and the height that your toe is the same. A lot of times in shoes, the rear the heel will have additional cushioning in it. So then there's a drop between where your heel sits and where your toes sit. So you're almost always walking with a little bit of a downward pressure on your toes. And so that's kind of what the barefoot minimalist, zero drop, all those kind of terms are referring to that. So they're just less, you're giving yourself less shoe support, but then it's forcing your body to strengthen those muscles and ligaments and tendons and joints, and it's good. So so that's what that is. Matthew here says, it's commendable that you are able to stay resilient through the ups and downs. I can't say I'm 100% there, but I'm close. You're getting there. That's awesome, Matthew. I love it. And Carrie says here about, Matt, I'll finish math. That's awesome, Matt. 100% is, I'm not 100% either. Like I have days of 100%. I've had months of 100%, but over 978 days or 984 days, I have not been 100% either. And my average is doing great now, or I'm at 100%, or I've been at 100% for the past few months, but that took 2 years to get myself to be at 100%. You know, that's like, you know, it would take 2 years for somebody to be good at playing baseball or playing football. You know, like you got to give yourself the time to get good at being on the diet. So don't worry about the 100%, not 100%. It's the getting back on track too is huge. You know, like you eat something that's off plan, make your next meal a big potato meal. Don't skip meals because you went off plan. It just gets you into this cycle of hunger. Just get back on plan, start eating an abundance of healthy foods again, and you'll see that success. But yeah, I mean, and I've said it a couple times, some of that resilience does come from the fact that I created this YouTube channel, and I want to complete the 3 years and to be able to, you know, look back and say, I got that done. And so that's been a huge driver or motivator for me too. So, I should probably get going today though. Carrie said, Carrie did make a comment about the shoes. One of the things that convinced Carrie about the barefoot was that her parents aren't able to walk barefoot in their 60s. And it's because a lot of it is because they spent 60 years never walking barefoot. So the ligaments that need to be strong to walk barefoot weakened. And, you know, I imagine that, maybe with time or training, they could get to the point where they could walk barefoot, but it's easier for them to just throw shoes on, and less painful to just throw shoes on. And that again is because of years and years of conditioning and wearing kind of the regular shoes everybody wears. So, but I definitely got off on a weird tangent. It started off on how life gets in the way, and then I started talking about shoes. But in reality though, it's been an important part of my weight loss, has been the shoes and been my foot health overall and improving my foot health. Because that was the big sign that I had that I needed to do something, was the incredible amount of swelling I had around my ankle. So, yeah, I am going to get out of here today. I don't know about tomorrow, guys. I'm going to try to get on tomorrow. It's probably going to be my last live stream until August. So I am definitely going to try to get on tomorrow. I'm very happy with my weigh-in today. It could not have been better. And I'm looking forward to continuing that success train through the next couple weeks. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping to come back closer to 250 than 260. Let's just say that. Try that. So thank you guys so much. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, get subscribed to the channel. Click on that bell icon. Hit the like on this video. I'd love that. And if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health or your overall well-being. And there's nobody that reaches their goals, looks back, and wishes they would have waited. Everybody wishes they would have started sooner. So get started right now, guys. I will talk to you later.